Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing some Cyber Dragon test hands. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So Cyber Dragon is an amazing OTK deck that can go first or go second, especially with this build. This deck is super fun to be able to play and an extremely nostalgic deck based on the old school Cyber Dragon. I have some really spicy tech cards in this build for you guys that I'm super excited to show you guys, but you guys know it's dad rule number one to pile shuffle the deck so that we don't brick. And if you guys would like to check out the deck profile, as always, it is down in the description down below for every test hand video if you guys would like to check out the deck profile used for this video. So let's go ahead and pile shuffle up the deck and see what we can do for our first test hand. This deck is super fun to be able to play, and you can go in for some insane plays with this build. So let's go ahead and give the deck a quick shuffle and then see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and draw, and we're going to draw into a copy of Cyber Load Fusion. A copy of Cyber Emergency, that's already great. We have our Rhoda for this deck. A copy of Duality, that's amazing. A copy of Clockwork Knight, and a copy of Duality. So this might look like a really bad hand because you don't have any monsters in it, but that's totally fine because we have Cyber Emergency, which is going to get us directly to a Cyber Dragon monster. So what we're going to do with this particular hand is activate our copy of Cyber Emergency. Now, depending on if we're going first or second, which you can go second with this build, you have a really easy way to be able to break your opponent's board. So as I go through this, I'm going to tell you guys what you could do going first or going second with these hands. But regardless, what we're going to do is we're going to search, going first or second, a copy of Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is very important to be able to get to with this particular build because this is an amazing card to help you go into the long game. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon out our copy of Cyber Dragon Core, and Cyber Dragon Core is going to let us search a Cyber Speller Trap from our deck to our hand. They have a couple of different targets you can actually search, your Cyber Repair Plant being one of them, your copy of Cyber Emergency, Load Fusion, and you have your copy of a Rev System that you can actually search with this particular card. Being able to search a copy of Rhoda, a Monster Reborn, or a different kind of Rhoda from your deck. I'm probably going to grab the copy of Cyber Repair Plant because that's going to help us out in the long run of things to be able to bring back our copy of Core to our side of the field. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're just going to add that card from our deck to our hand. Now, if we are going second, you can activate the copy of Clockwork Knight and then link your opponent's entire field away into a contact fuse into a copy of Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, because this will make everything a machine. This counts as Cyber Dragon while it's on the field. So you can basically just make this card by getting rid of your opponent's entire field, swing directly, activate your copy of Duality, and turn your copy of Chimeratech Fortress Dragon into a copy of your Cyber Twin Dragon, because this is dark, this is light, this can attack twice, and this is also a level 8, making it so that you can go through this line, which is super cool to be able to just OTK your opponent, and I love that about this particular deck. It's super easy to OTK your opponent. It's much better going second with this deck to be able to OTK, especially with the Duality package, but we can still go first with this build. So we're going to go ahead and link this card away. And we're going to set up for the following turn to be able to summon out a copy of Alamirage. And once we summon out the copy of Alamirage, we can use the effect of our Cyber Repair Plant to be able to search out an additional light machine monster from our deck to our hand, so we can go in for more plays later. So at this point, what you want to be able to search out is just any of your Cyber Dragon cards just to set you up for follow-up turns, like a copy of Cyber Dragon, because your opponent's probably going to out the copy of Alamirage on your side of the field. So you're just going to search out the original Cyber Dragon so we can special summon it out to our side of the field on the follow-up turn. So at this point, this is also making all of our opponent's monsters go down by 500. If we don't get OTK, we can just let our opponent walk through this. Then we're going to draw for turn. And at this point, we're going to win because we're going to be able to out our opponent's entire field by dropping the Feather Duster, then special summoning out the copy of Cyber Dragon, being able to turn it in with a Duality into a different monster, or just dealing with our opponent's entire field, which the main play that we usually want to be able to do is just deal with the opponent's entire field and then link it away or contact fuse it away into a copy of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. And then once you can go into the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, you swing at your opponent directly, drop your copy of Duality, turn this card into a copy of Twin, and then once you turn it into a copy of Cyber Twin Dragon, you'll just swing directly again twice for 5,600. Swing, swing, and you win the game, which is really cool about this particular deck, and it helps you out a lot in the long run. You also have the effect of Duality to let you draw a card, since we do have a dark and a light monster in the grave. You can also, instead of grabbing the copy of Cyber Dragon, you can grab other cards, like another copy of, say, like a copy of a Cyber Dragon Core, if you want to grab a copy of Core from deck to hand so you can normal summon, and then banish your copy of Core from the graveyard to be able to summon out a copy of Cyber Dragon directly from the deck to give you more follow-up plays if you want to go that route instead. But I just want to show you guys some simple plays that you could do with this deck to be able to OTK the opponent. So let's go into the next test hand and see what we can do. It's really good when we open Machine Duplication because it's going to help you out a lot in the long run. But let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can do for the next one. So we're going to shuffle it up and draw 5 again and see what we can do for our next test hand. So let's go ahead and see what we can draw into. So we're going to draw into a copy of Cyber Emergency. That's amazing. A copy of the Star Destroying Kaiju, Triple Tactical Talent, a copy of Cyber Dragon, and finally a copy of Machine Duplication. So this is a little different. This is a lot better of a hand to be able to go in for the first turn because we can establish more negates. That's what I'm telling you guys about this deck, is you can go first or you can go second. This deck does a lot better going second. For example, with cards like this, you can lay it over an opponent's monster, and once you lay it over an opponent's monster, you can special summon out Cyber Dragon, contact fuse them away for Fortress, and then basically just win. But with this particular hand, we're going to activate the copy of the Emergency to grab a copy from our deck to our hand of Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is very important in this particular deck to grab. We do already have the copy of the Cyber Dragon in our hand, so we can actually just special summon that out to our side of the field. And then once we special summon out the copy of Cyber Dragon to the field, we can normal summon out the copy of Core. Core will go off and search another copy of a Cyber Dragon Spell or Trap, or a Cyber Spell or Trap from our deck to our hand, again giving us a bunch of different options that you can actually grab with this particular hand. From cards like your Cyber Rev System to Repair Plant, you have a bunch of different options that you can grab with this particular hand. You can even grab Load Fusion to help you go in for some fusion plays by putting your materials back in the deck, which actually could help out a lot with this particular hand to step into cards like our copies of our Chimera Tech, which is really cool to go into Rampage Dragon with this card because it lets us fusion summon a monster that lists a Cyber Dragon as fusion materials, and it's a quick play spell, so we can get our cards off the field. But the really cool thing about this deck is to use your copy of Machine Dupe on your copy of a Cyber Dragon Core, Hertz, or Nashter to be able to turn it into 2 Cyber Dragons, since it's counted as Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the grave. So we can actually special summon out a copy of the original Cyber Dragons to our side of the field, which is super helpful to get our copies of our original copies of Cyber Dragon on the field, because now we have all 3 of them on the field, which is really big to be able to do. And I love that about this particular lineup because it's very easy to set up with this particular field. So at this point, we can just overlay 2 of these Cyber Dragons on our side of the field and turn it into a copy of our Nova, and then turn that copy of Nova later into an Infinity, because we're going to link away the copy of Core to turn it into a copy of Alamirage because it was normal summoned to our side of the field. Now we have a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, so we can detach a material from this card to bring back our copy of our original Cyber Dragon, and then we can summon out a copy of Infinity on top of the copy of the Nova, which is really big to be able to do. You can also go ahead and put these 2 together if you want to for a copy of Chaos Angel, because we are not locked into machines, so you can just go ahead and make a Chaos Angel if you want to. It will only have light into it, but it makes it so that your synchro monsters are unaffected by the other monster effects, which is pretty cool to be able to make this card. Or if you want to be able to just wait it out, you can leave these 2 on the field and make your copy of Rampage later by using your copy of Load Fusion. If I didn't have Load Fusion, I would probably make the copy of Chaos Angel, but if at any point your opponent does hand trap, you can drop the copy of Talents to draw 2, which can help you dig into the deck for more plays or look at your opponent's hand. If we do draw the 2, we're going to draw into a copy of the Cyber Machine Duplication and the copy of Galaxy Soldier, which can help you out a little bit in the long run to help you link summon and climb into other cards, but I'll probably just leave these 2 on the field just to help us go in the long run to be able to go in for more plays, because you can activate the copy of Load Fusion, putting these back in the deck to make cards like your copy of Machine Duplication live again, which is why I like putting these cards back into the deck, because this card actually shovels the fusion materials back in your deck from cards on the field and or face-up banished cards to put them back in the deck, but monsters that you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn, which is totally fine because you can basically just flip this during your opponent's turn to make something like a Rampage Dragon, or turn it into, say, a copy of your Twin Dragon, which is really cool to be able to turn it into either of these cards to be able to just make with Cyber Load Fusion by putting these back in the deck so you can use them again later. So let's go ahead and go into the next test hand and show you guys what else you can do with this deck. As you guys can see, Cyber Dragon is a super fun deck to be able to play. It's really quick how fast you go through your turns, which is amazing. And I love that about Cyber Dragon, that it's just such a quick deck to play. Because if you guys want to be able to just go through your turns in either OTK or just be able to set up a control board, it's very fast, it's very fun, and it's very easy to be able to play. Because you're basically just trying to get as many Cyber Dragon monsters as you can on your side of the field to deal with your opponent. But let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do for our next test hand. So let's go ahead and draw our 5. So we're going to draw a copy of Cyber Dragon Nashter, a copy of Duality, that's pretty good for going second. Clockwork Knight, we can already break a board. Cyber Dragon, this is a very much going second hand. And finally, a copy of Galaxy Soldier. This is again a very going second hand. We can set up a going first hand with this particular lineup, but with the copy of Clockwork Knight, it automatically becomes a board-breaking hand, which is very good for this particular deck. We can summon out a copy of Nova and Infinity if we want to, because you have the copy of Galaxy Soldier, so you can send this to the grave, get a copy of Galaxy Soldier, send another one to the grave with the Nashter, because this will search the other Galaxy Soldier and set up your plays, which will make Nova Infinity, and you can bring it back to make your copy of Duality live as well, which is really, really big. So that's probably the play we're going to go with. We're probably foregoing first. We'll summon out the copy of Galaxy Soldier by sending Cyber Dragon to the graveyard to be able to search another copy of Galaxy Soldier. You can also normal summon out your copy if you want to of your copy of Nashter, but I'm going to show you guys how to make a bigger field, which is really important. Send your copy of Nashter to the graveyard to summon out your second copy of Galaxy Soldier with no search. Go ahead and overlay both of these on your side of the field to summon out your copy of Nova. Nova will then detach to be able to grab a copy of Cyber Dragon back out of the graveyard, make your copy of Infinity, activate Clockwork Knight, set your card face down, pass over to the opponent, let them do their thing. You have a negate on board. This is reducing all their monsters down by 500 and boosting all ours up by 500, which helps out a lot in the long run of things to be able to basically just break boards. It's really good to be able to do because your Cyber Dragons can basically eat your opponent's entire field with the copies of your Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. This is just really, really big in the deck now. Being able to do this with any Cyber Dragon monster plus Clockwork Knight, it's just such a powerful play. But at this point, you're going to let your opponent go through their plays, and we're going to go ahead and go into the next turn. We're going to draw for turn and draw into a copy of Triple Tactics Thrust. This is really a big card to be able to use if you can get to Machine Duplication and you have a low attack point monster. But something you have to keep in mind as you're playing the deck is this actually boosts your monsters up by 500, which will boost up your monsters too high to be able to use Machine Duplication. So that's something you got to watch out for as you're playing the deck. So at this point, what we can do is this is just going to be in our hand. So at this point, what we can do is swing with this board. And once you swing with this board or be able to eat your opponent's board, you can do either or that you want to. You can either swing or eat your opponent's board, depending on the situation. And you can turn your Duality and go into a copy of Rampage with your copy of Cyber Dragon and Duality, because this is a dark machine and this is a light machine. So you turn it into a dark machine, which is really cool to be able to do. And then you can use the ability to grab more cards from your deck to your hand, which is just really, really good. I love this about the deck because the main play that you're going to be doing with this, just to show you guys, to turn this card into a duality, is during your battle phase, you can use the ability to be able to just swing, but you can do it during your main phase as well, because when this card is on your side of the field, you can actually once per turn send up to 2 light machine monsters from your deck to the graveyard, and for each monster sent to the grave, it gains additional attack points, making it easy to OTK your opponent. So we're going to always send a copy of Hurts, and I like to send Core to the graveyard to be able to use that ability. Plus the copy of Hurts will then grab us another copy of Cyber Dragon from our deck to our hand, specifically the original Cyber Dragon that you have to grab from your deck to your hand off that ability. It's very important to grab that card so that you can go in for more plays. That's the effect of Hurts going off, grabbing the Cyber Dragon from deck to hand. And if this card does get destroyed, you can go in for more plays, but this card can now attack 3 times. So we're going to attack 1, 2, 3, and then your copy of Infinity can just finish them off and win the game. Again, showing you guys some very simple plays. You can also, with the follow-up play, if they don't deal with Clockwork Knight and they wipe your board, you can, during the follow-up turn, just summon out the copy of the Cyber Dragon, and then once you do, you're just going to link it away or contact fuse it away for either a copy of Mega Fleet or your copy of Fortress Dragon, whichever one suits you a little bit better. Usually I just make Fortress Dragon if I have the copy of Clockwork Knight on the field, because this eats every single monster, where this one only eats monsters in the extra monster zone, which is really important to do. So let's go ahead and go into one more test hand and see what we can do for one more test hand, guys. As you guys can see, the deck is pretty simple to play. You're just trying to OTK as quickly as possible to just deal with your opponent's plays, and it's super fun and super consistent at doing it, which is really good. If you guys are playing Cyber Dragon, you're definitely going to want to go second with this deck, which is just going to be really, really important. I'm actually going to show you guys really quickly a going second hand, just to show you how easy it is to break your opponent's board and just go in for game. So the coin toss doesn't even matter when you're going into the match. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a Cyber Dragon, a copy of Infinite Impermanence, a copy of Triple Tactical Talents, and a copy of Ash Blossom. So we can even eat our opponent's field, which is just really, really good. So we're just going to stop our opponent in their tracks with the copies of Infinite Impermanence and the Ash Blossom, dealing with all of their plays that they have. So then we're going to go into our next turn, draw a card, and it's Clockwork Knight. We win the game. Activate Clockwork Knight, summon out the copy of Cyber Dragon, whatever field they establish, we're just going to get rid of it and summon out the copy of that Chimera Tech and swing directly. If they activate any monster effects during our turn as well, we can also activate the copy of Triple Tactical Talents, drawing 2 cards, activating Rev System, bringing back Cyber Dragon, and then just swinging directly for whatever else we need to do and cleaning up the game. So that's what's really cool about Cyber Dragon, as you guys can see, very fast, very effective, very cool to be able to play, super nostalgic, and really, really fun. I love Cyber Dragons. I love playing with them because there's so many cool, easy plays that you can do going second. Let's go ahead and do one more going second hand. That was about the best example you could have seen of how quick this deck can play and just how quick it can OTK your opponent, which is what's really cool. But let's go ahead and do one more going second hand, just to prove to you guys what's really cool. And you can also side in board breakers like Regeki, Lightning Storm, cards like that, and just be able to deal with your opponent, which is really, really cool about this deck. If you guys would like to check out the Patreon, I actually have side decks as a reward over on Patreon if you guys would like to check that out. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do for one more test hand. This is going to be a going second test hand, just to show you guys what the deck can do going first or going second. And we're actually going to draw into a copy of Core, Ash, a copy of Cyber Dragon Nashter, Cyber Dragon, and finally Cyber Emergency. So what we're going to do with this particular hand is Ash the opponent on their turn. They're going to pass over to us. Sometimes Ash can be enough. And we're going to go ahead and draw into another copy of Ash Blossom. And we're probably going to win because we're going to activate the copy of the Cyber Emergency. It's fine if they Ash that. We're already set up in our hand. But we're just going to add from our deck to our hand a card like a copy of, say, maybe a copy of Hurt, because that's the only one we don't have to be able to just get to, and it will help us get another Cyber Dragon in our hand. So now we have pretty much the entire setup in our hand, so we can just special summon out Cyber Dragon, contact away whatever monsters in the extra monster zone for a copy of Chimera Tech, normal summon out the copy of Core to our side of the field, grab a copy from our deck to our hand of any of the Cyber Dragon cards that we need. We want field, so we're going to establish the copy of Rev System, because Rev System is going to bring back Cyber Dragon multiple times because of the Nashter. Use Nashter's ability to be able to discard the copy of Hurts. Hurts will go off, grabbing, they're all at the bottom. Why are you at the bottom? we're going to go ahead and add, that's why we pile shuffle, guys. That's why it's important. So we're going to go ahead and add from deck to hand a copy of Cyber Dragon to be able to just add that card to hand. And then once we do, we're going to activate the copy of Rev System. Rev System can special summon a Cyber Dragon from the field or the graveyard, which is really important. But the copy of the Nashter will also go off, special summoning Cyber Dragon from the grave. Activate Rev System to special summon our Cyber Dragon from our hand. And then once we do that, we can then overlay both of these into a copy of Nova, which is right here. Detach the copy of Cyber Dragon to special summon it back to our side of the field, since we do have technically a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard. And then we can just link these two away into a copy of our Cyber Dragon Seeger. Seeger is amazing in this particular deck to be able to just deal with your opponent's field. Then we make a copy of Infinity. You can make the Infinity first if you want to before the Seeger, just to make sure you don't get like Nibiru'd or anything, which is really important to be able to do. But at this point, you're OTKing your opponent. This is going to boost something up by 2,100 attack points. This is sitting at 24 because usually you're just going to eat 2 monsters with this card. And then you swing for 24, swing for 21, boost this up. They're not going to take damage from this. They're going to then swing for 42, and then this is going to swing for 25 to be able to just end the game. If they have anything in attack position, you can just eat it with this to be able to just deal with your opponent's field. Let's say this is an opponent's monster that was in attack position. You just eat it, which is really cool, just to eat the opponent's monster with this card. Also, it's a walking negate, which is just really, really good. So, I think that pretty much establishes to show you guys exactly how Cyber Dragons can go first or second. So I think that's going to do it for these test hands. This deck is super fun to be able to play. And again, if you guys would like to check out the deck profile, definitely do that down in the description, because this deck is crazy, crazy fun to be able to play. I absolutely love Cyber Dragons, and a really cool play just to show you guys is if you have this on the field, there's actually a really funny play that you can do that I'll show you guys really quickly. There's a really funny duality target for this. So you can actually, since this is level 10 and dark, you can actually duality this away and summon out Cyber End Dragon during the battle phase to be able to just go in for 4k, which is really funny to be able to do, because you can summon out the original Cyber End in this deck with duality by using it this way, and this counts as your duality target. Since it's a level 10 and it's dark, you can turn it into Cyber End, which is super cool and nostalgic, and I love that about this deck, that you can actually summon the original boss monster, and it's actually my favorite Cyber Dragon card. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me down below what your favorite Cyber Dragon card is. And my favorite is actually Cyber End Dragon, because it's just such a cool looking card. And I remember seeing this card on Cybernetic Revolution being like, oh, that's a cool Cyber Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I know we all thought it. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell in there so you can come part of Notification Squad. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.